Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Johnny, I work at Rakuten Viber and I will be the host for today. So, attract and interact, how to drive your customer engagement with Viber. That's what we're going to be looking at today's webinar. Next slide, please. So your hosts today, Etienne Dupont, who is the Director of Business Messaging Solutions at Rakuten Viber, and he'll be joined by Stephanie Wissmann, who is the VP of Digital and Growth at Tyntec. Next slide, please. So today's agenda, we'll be looking at global market trends, followed by Viber's messaging solutions. We will then look at how you can get started with Tyntec. We'll move on to some success stories from partners and clients, and then we will finally move to a Q&A session where you get a chance to ask anything you like within reason. Thanks to those who put in questions beforehand. We'll take a look and we'll answer as many of them as we can with the time we have. And of course, please feel free to use the Zoom Q&A at the bottom of your screen to address any further questions to us, and we'll do our absolute best to answer them. If not on the webinar, we'll definitely be in touch afterwards. So we're always available to help anyone who needs it. So with that said, I will hand over to Etienne to present his portion. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Johnny, for these introductions. I'm glad to be here, and I will also like to thank you, our Tyntec partners that is hosting this webinar with us. And I also would like to thank you all the people that join us to attend these sessions and to talk about how Viber can help you to better manage your customer communications. And to start with, we are going to start by showing you some trends that we have seen since COVID, but actually that started way before. And the change that that we're going to talk, probably you are already familiar with. So we know that for the past couple of years, we have seen a change of user behavior, where consumers expect brands to communicate with them in real time. On top of that, based also on our own experience as a messaging app, we know that users prefer to text, whatever it's personal contact or brands, rather than making phone calls. And this change leads obviously to the rise of messaging apps that are now 20% bigger than social media. And on top of being bigger in terms of audience, they have also a stronger usage by around, and users are spending more than 60% of their time on messaging app. And for brands, actually, it's opened doors to invest in these new communication channels to get closer to their users. And last but not least, coming from digital e-commerce reporting, but also from our own statistics, we are seeing that a message being sent by a brand is usually read in the next 3 minutes. So at Vibers, on top of seeing like the usage itself and the fact that users are reading brand message, we are seeing the speed it happens. Plus, also from the digital e-commerce reportings, half of the users are more likely to buy from a company that they can message in a chat app. Why? Because users expect brands to reply them quickly in a platform that they're familiar to use in a regular basis. Unfortunately, despite these trends, there's still a difference of perceptions between brands and users. Based on Twilio reporting, 7 out of 10 businesses think they communicate with customers effectively, while only 2 out of 10 agree. And as you can see, there is for brands, a bridge to be gap, a distance to be closed, to increase these customer satisfactions. And messaging app are definitely an opportunity for brands to close this gap and stand out to get closer to their consumers. Obviously, we are forced to talk about 2020 years that has been profoundly changed due to COVID. And actually, like the trend that we were talking previously have been completely accelerated due to COVID and lead to a new normal that we'll explain you in a few minutes. And we think that this new normal will remain even after the pandemic. So, as you know, in this new normal, like brick and mortars, retail shop have seen their in-store audience decrease, and this audience move to online commerce. We know that some call centers had to close or had to reduce the number of employees due to the pandemic, and where in parallel bots and messaging apps are now playing a key role to facilitate this type of user interactions. Data security is even more important, knowing that the online traffic have exploded. User data, user security is now more vulnerable, and brands and users want to use safe and secure tools where their communications, their message will remain private. Finally, the necessity of more promotions is more essential. Users are lately bombarded by ads, promotions, email, notifications, etc. And this is why, due to all this fact, the need of one-to-one interactions is even more crucial. And this is why to differentiate yourself, messaging apps can be key. Thanks to these initial introductions, I'm going to present you a bit how on Vibers you can communicate better with your audience to face some of the challenge we have been explaining. To start with, to give you some word about Viber itself. So today we are celebrating our 10 years anniversary, and we will start having some celebration campaigns in a couple of weeks. As of today, we are recording around 1.1 billion registered users across the globe, and we are recording our stronger audience in terms of smartphone market share penetrations, mainly in CIS and CE regions, where we are having between 50 to 95% of the smartphone populations inside Vibers. We have also strong positions in couple MENA regions and also in APAC countries. In terms of demography at Vibers, so our core audience is usually a bit more senior than what you can see in more, let's say, in more emerging social networks like Snapchat or TikTok. 33% of our audience is between 25 to 34 years old. And actually, it can be an opportunity for brands because these peoples have typically the biggest purchase power. In terms of genders, it's quite equal. It can depend more or less in some countries. And finally, in terms of OS and device, no big surprise here. 78% of our audience is on Android, which is quite, at the end of the day, aligned with Android penetrations across the globe. And in terms of device, Viber being a mobile-first platform, 94% of our audience is mainly using Viber on smartphones, knowing that Viber is available on smartphone, on tablet, and on desktop. What happened during the quarantine? It's actually a question that have been asked a lot this past few weeks. Actually, so these are the stats coming from CE countries. As you might know, there was a strict lockdown in CE regions in Q1, Q2 this year. And here at Vibers, we have seen clearly our app usage exploded. Not only in terms of number of messages being sent, in terms of number of calls being passed one-to-one, or even group calls that actually have been released right after the lockdowns, but we have also seen an increase of more confidential features like My Notes and few others. And this app usage increase actually had a positive impact for brands in terms of potential visibility that they could get. As you might know, at Viber, we have couple ad placements here and there in the application. For instance, we have a placement at the end of a call. We have a placement in our main chat screen. And obviously, the stronger usage, the number of calls increasing, it leads to an increase in terms of available inventory and potential visibility for brands. To come back to our topic, so we have already said that today brands are facing some challenge due to the fact that customers are receiving a lot of promotions, in-store traffic has decreased, and at Vibers, we wanted to offer to brands a customer-centric approach to face this challenge. Thanks to this approach, our platform brands can be available 24 hours on 7. They can hear and listen to what their customers have to say. And thanks to the available tools on Vibers, they are, at the end of the day, only at one single message away from their clients. They will work in a full secure environment, and they will be able to benefit from our range of message formats to fill this gap with their customers and adapt their message, adapt their content to a messaging platform. And so the solution that we have developed and that we continue to actively invest resources and new features is catering every step of the user journey, and which led to the brands, obviously, to attract customers, attract existing clients to reach them out on Vibers, but also attract potential new clients. Then they can engage the conversations to better interact with them. In terms of interactions, our tools will let them qualify this audience in terms of existing, reconcile their database, but also qualify the new leads coming in, which will enable you to send them a custom offer and give you a chance to turn them into paid customers. Obviously, you will be able to transact, and by transact I mean not only just sell your product inside Viber and let them purchase by your clients, but you will also be able to send them some transactional notifications, for instance, registration activations, account status, and we'll give you in the next slide a further example. And knowing that now you have these open discussion channels between you and your customers, you will be able to reconnect with them at any time of the funnels and any time of the years, which will give you a chance to maintain a deeper relationship with each of your clients. On this platform, so as I was saying, you will be able to send different type of message, from promotional, transactional, and conversational. To give you a better example, so in terms of promotional message that brands typically are sending on Vibers, can be discount coupons, offer, birthday celebrations, loyalty status, etc. Transactional, as I was saying, can be order confirmations, delivery tracking status, tickets, boarding pass, meeting reminder, for instance. And on the conversational side, on top of sending this kind of notifications, you will be able to maintain live interactions with your customers to manage your customer support, thanks to live agents, artificial intelligence, chatbots. It will be thanks to these conversational channels. You can collect further feedback, reviews, questions from your clients. You can apply your services and offer and show directly your product inside the app. You can, for instance, also connect the page to your back office, for instance, to let your clients connect it from Viber directly. And to make this happen, we are offering two types of integrations at Viber. On the left side, we have what we call a chatbot API that will give you the possibility to reach out to your existing clients, but also to connect with a wider audience to turn them into a customer. You will be able to connect this API to your CRM systems to qualify this audience. And the main interest with chatbot is really to offer a meaningful, a dynamic, and immersive chat experience on Viber, thanks to different tools available on it. For instance, you can customize your user keyboard by adding buttons, automatic mechanisms to enable and facilitate the user interactions. You can also take advantage of our full range of message type on chatbots. So not only text and image, but it can also be GIF, video, carousel, stickers, contact cards, localizations, etc. And thanks to this, you can have a deeper interactions. On the other side, we have the second integration that that is available with Viber is what we call the business message API. And the purpose of this API is for brands that want to engage the conversations directly, thanks to the Viber phone numbers that they have previously collected and where they have collected the audience consent, and where they will be able to replace their traditional SMS message on Viber. On top of this API, they can different type of message are available: text, image, buttons and URL, and file that has been released a few weeks ago. An additional added value of business message is you can, with this channel, we can guarantee you a very high level of deliverability of your message, thanks to SMS fallbacks. Meaning, like, let's say the user is not on Viber, our user is offline for some reasons, or doesn't have data at this moment, which means that he can't receive your message. We will be able to send you back this message will be able to be sent on SMS as last options. All these tools are obviously safe, business message being even end-to-end encrypted. And to finish, I'm going to show you two user flow, one from bot and one from business message. So on this first example, you can see the bot user flow from Krispy Kreme. So Krispy Kreme is an American donut company that have stores in many countries, and in the Philippines, where they have different stores, they wanted to let their users order from their bot on Vibers. So they have released the bot on Vibers, where they have included different menu and sub-menu to let their users discover what they have to propose. And as a user, you will be you can browse these items. You can order them, decide if you want to make them delivered at home, for instance, or if you prefer to pick them up in one of the stores. And finally, you can conclude the purchase directly. As a second example from WBCellline, this is a business message user flow. So you will be able, once the communication is engaged, you will be able to retrieve your channels within your chat screens or within your business message inbox for Russia, for instance. You will be able also to retrieve further information from the brands thanks to a business profile page that that is available on Vibers. And on the right side, you can see how it looks like conversations between the brands and the users, where they can ask questions, user can reply, and maintain this this relationship. I will let now Stephanie from Tyntec give you further information about Tyntec and the way they are working with Vibers.
Thank you very much, Etienne, for this introduction, and actually a very good point to, now that you're hopefully totally hooked and excited about all the possibilities with business messaging, to get a little bit more concrete on how to get started or how to get this going. If you wonder who Tyntec is or what we are doing, here's if I have to explain it within one sentence, it's to make it as easy for consumers to chat with businesses as it is with their friends. And this sentence, make communication as easy as chatting with your friends, sums up a lot of what Etienne has been saying. And if you look at your own behavior, or me, for example, this morning, I texted to friends and family. I didn't write emails or didn't do calls, but I was like checking in how they are, what our plans are for the weekends. And I didn't do this via phone. I didn't do this via email. I was texting. And this is why I'm always stressing it so much, that businesses are missing out on this huge opportunity, that a new communication channel that you can see in your private behavior is popping up, and businesses are still referring to the old channels. And it's a very personalized channel as well. So they're saying a brand as a friend using business messaging, this can really become reality because you are having this personal interaction. To not just explain it in one sentence, but give you a little bit more of background information on who you are dealing with, or who Tyntec is. We are not a startup anymore because so Viber is celebrating their 10 years anniversary. We are 8 years ahead, 18 years and still going strong. We are a very international company, so we have employees from over 40 nationalities, offices all over the world, in the US as in Asia, as well as in Europe. US and Asia, because there you already see the tendency that messaging is so much occupying the space and also like really playing a big role in how enterprises and consumers interact. And this is the tendency that we now see in Europe and in CIS countries and in other regions as well. The founder, which I always like to stress this point, is still within the company. He and with this Tyntec is holder over 12 patents in the communication industry. So we are very engineer and very innovation driven. And we are on a very regular basis ranked as tier 1 concerning messaging provider, where the quality of delivery, the quality of service is being rated. And considering the enterprises we work for, it's the whole range. So we serve the so-called big social networks, Twitter, Skype, Microsoft. A lot of banks are our companies, airlines. It's really across all verticals, across all different industries, small or big. Just everyone who basically has understood as an enterprise that missing out on one of the most important channels, being mobile communication or being chat apps, is needed within their communication strategy. And to share a little bit of my experience in also consulting or supporting a lot of these enterprises to use business messaging, and to, if you're wondering like, how do I really bring this into life? Yes, I understand business messaging is the way to go to. Yes, I want to start with Viber. Just sharing some experience on which aspects you need to consider and you need to be aware of. So I really like to call it that you need to think about adding a conversational layer to your communication. So you usually already have call center and everything phone related going. You have every email communication going, and then really adding this new conversations layer. And then also thinking about the aspect that Etienne covered, that of course, this is an opportunity to go into the direction of thinking of more automated communication forms, like using chatbots. But there are also, if you wonder, a lot of what we call hybrid forms. So it's definitely always recommended to have a human escalation path, even in automated communications. We see a lot of enterprises who also start using it in a non-automated way, or just having smaller parts of automation and then basically extending and experiencing. And this gives you also the ability to scale. So what we usually, because this, if you think about, adding a new layer of conversation, that sounds big, we recommend, or experience is to really start small, start with a proof of concept, choose a certain area of your business, choose maybe a certain range of countries, and then we will also accompany you finding really the way, like how you can scale this and how you can make this the perfect layer. And being even more concrete on how this looks in actual life, or how you can do this. So we see a lot of companies who basically just take the API and integrate it into your system. And that is basically the beauty also of business messaging via APIs. You can use it and you can connect it to all your current business systems or softwares you're using, be it CRM, being ERP software for sending out audio notifications. Like, possibilities are endless. If you wonder if you have a special use case and are not sure, is this possible or not, please contact us. I'm happy to share learnings we have from other enterprises and how you can do it. What you can also do, and sometimes there are also mixed forms, is that there are a lot of pre-built integrations. I'll say a little bit about it later, but for example, if you're using one of the Microsoft Dynamics, that is a partnership that we just launched last week, where we've built a pre-built integration. It's super easy. Setup can be done basically within 10 or 15 minutes. And then you have a direct connection between Microsoft Dynamics as your CRM system and business chat apps like Viber, for example. As these two parts involve a little bit of help of your IT department, and in case you are coming more from the marketing or customer care range and say like, developer resources are scarce. I don't even know how to get a hold of them. There's also a solution for this. So what you can also do, or what some companies do as a minimal viable product, is that there is a pre-configured chat messaging dashboard ready and available, which doesn't need, it's no code, you don't need any developer resources, where you can basically just, it's set up super easily within a day, and then you can already start, maybe for a predetermined period of time, like 3 months, also gain experience how your consumers are adapting this channel. And then with this experience and also with these numbers behind it, then get the executive buy-in and move forward with the IT department. So those would be the different options. You can also combine them. You can start with a chat messaging dashboard maybe right away. And then with the API integration, we have companies who already say like, okay, we are totally convinced, C-level is convinced, everyone, and we have developer resources free, and we start with the API integration right away, or you have the middle path. And again, any of these scenarios you're wondering which is the right one for me, we are really happy to help you in this and consult you and guide you and share our experience, which we have with many companies. That's our day-to-day business. And that is one of the points that feedback from enterprises using Tyntec as a service provider is what we always get. We call it more than tech. So we will never leave you alone. We really have a guided process for this. We take it very, very seriously in supporting you, in sharing our experiences, in giving you the latest updates, in really guiding you through the process, plus giving you all the flexibility in what is for your current scenario the best solution. And they're basically giving you the full flexibility. And Etienne mentioned it, one of the biggest points, not just in consumer perception, but also for enterprises, GDPR related, is the topic of data security. And in this as well, it might be because we are a German company who are known, I think, for taking data security very, very serious. This is one of our main points, and also one of the reasons a lot of companies choose us, because we can assure that the data is hosted in Europe. We have very strict and very good processes on data processing, on data protection, and really making sure that this end-to-end encryption promise is carried through. Again, if you are super excited, but you see like, oh, the data protection officer might have some doubts, please contact us. We have plenty of material. We can educate. We can, what we also have the case, you can connect us with your data protection officer or your data security officer directly, and we'll basically explain him how this end-to-end encryption works and why we can make sure that your data and your consumer data is safe. And to sum it up, what I just talked about, so makes us stand out is this innovation and top-notch engineering, an engineer-led company, but people like me also being on the business side, understanding really how this works, and giving you the flexibility and agility, which I think in not just, it's become more important during COVID times. It was already important before, but now it's coming into real life and not just being a buzzword. So giving you really plenty of options, which helps you to, in the end, scale, but also have like quick solutions and be ready to be going. And the topic I talked about last, which is security and data protection, where we can be your partner of choice, because this is a topic that is also very much at our heart. That was kind of the practical part, like how you can get started. And Etienne will take over now to tell you a little bit more about how success stories can look like.
Yes, thanks, Stephanie. Yes, to finish the presentation part, and before moving to the Q&A, and don't hesitate to ask questions through the Zoom Q&A tool, and we'll reply you afterwards. So to start, an example from NLB Banka. If you are not familiar, NLB Group is one of the biggest banking and financial group in Slovenia, and they also have some subsidiary banks in other countries, including Montenegro. And NLB Banka actually asked us, they were facing a challenge where they wanted to improve their communications, where they wanted to increase two-ways conversations that they were having with their customers in order to better manage customer relationship, but also to try add new and innovative channels when they were launching some promotional campaigns. So they decided to test and launch their Viber business message channels and put SMS as a fallback in case a user were not on Vibers. But knowing that in Montenegro we have a very strong market penetrations, it was quite easy for them. As a result, they have seen a sales increase up to 15%, but also they have also seen an increase in terms of leads they were generating thanks to their customer channel on Viber. And they have also seen that customers were more likely to engage the conversation on Vibers, where they have recorded 2 times more conversation on Vibers from what they were seeing previously. And these channels has been a success for them, and they obviously continue to actively use it. Another example from Metro, big German chain, as you are familiar with probably. They have stores everywhere across Europe, but also in several countries in Asia. And they wanted to improve their technical support channel, and also to improve and test additional marketing communications to engage the conversation with customers. So this is why also they decided to, in Ukraine, so this case was in Ukraine, sorry, they wanted to test and open their channel on Vibers, and also they have seen strong results compared to what they were doing before, but also from the initial KPI they have set up. So they have seen a 20% increase in terms of sales, thanks to this stronger and deeper relationship between the customers and the brands. And in terms of effectiveness of the Viber channels, in comparison to what they were doing previously on SMS, for instance, they have seen that the conversion rate on Vibers was two times bigger and higher than SMS. A third example, this time in Philippines, so another part of the world, coming from Metrobank. So Metrobank is one of the biggest financial institutions in Philippines. They wanted 2 things. They wanted first to better qualify, to find a channel where they can better qualify their audience. And they also wanted a channel where they can promote and help the user register to one of their cards. This is why they have decided also to launch their Viber channels, including SMS fallback to make sure their message were delivered properly. As a result, so they have also seen a stronger engagement ratio by around 30 to 35%, where users were more likely to reply to the message compared to what they were traditionally recording. They also figure out that 50% of their user base were already on Vibers. So Viber really become a leading channel to maintain and manage their customer relationships. And it became the number one channels, and they are now trying to push more customers that were probably not on Viber first to also go on Vibers to benefit from this stronger communication channel. So this is it for the success stories. Now it's time to reply to some of your questions. As Johnny said, we already recorded some initial questions when some of you are registered to the webinar, and Stephanie, me, and the rest of our team are here to reply to your questions. So Johnny, I will let you shoot the first one.
Thank you very much, Etienne, and thank you to both you and Stephanie for the presentations. That was great stuff. Okay, so the first questions that I have got here. We want to become a partner. How can we get a Viber business account?
Yeah, so I will start, and probably I will also let the talk to Stephanie to explain how is their onboarding process on the side when a customer wants to work with them and launch a campaign on Viber. So on Vibers, as I was saying, so we have two integrations methods. So for the chatbot, so we are having a public API with a public onboarding. So meaning like brands can register and publish their bot automatically. We are obviously working with a bunch of bot developers, bot platforms, messaging platform like Tyntec that can help you create your bots in case you don't have the resources, and that can also help you to publish it directly on Vibers without the assistance of Viber itself. On the other side, for the business message, so the business message API is what we call a private API. Meaning that it has been integrated with a trusted bunch of partners, including Tyntec, and we are not working directly with brands. So we are inviting brands to connect with our partner list, including Tyntec, where they can launch their business message channels on Vibers and communicate effectively with it.
Thank you.
So maybe Stephanie, you can you would like also to say a word about how is the onboarding process working on Tyntec?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what you can do is on our website under Viber, there is first of all you find all the contact information. So happy to just also discuss your case with you, like what do you want, what are your intentions, what do you want to achieve, and then it's basically a process of getting you an account within. 2 days, we guide you through the process. You get like every step along getting you the Viber profile. How should your profile look like? We have plenty of material on this, and it's a super easy thing and can be done very quickly. And then, as I mentioned before, you need to make the decision: do we start with a dashboard? Do we start with human agents? Do we start with automation? And there are plenty of options in between where we are happy to help and support you.
Thank you for that. The next question I have, what is the difference between a promotional and a transactional message?
Yeah, so obviously the nature itself of the message is different, and the purpose of the message is different. How on our side are we differentiating it? So on business message, we are having templates for promotional message where brands can combine different message message format. So a promotional message typically is including a text, an image, and a call to action button. While transactional message are mainly text message to give a straightforward information to the users. On the bot side, we don't have a specific format for transactional and promotional. It's up to the brand to decide how they want to differentiate it, if they want to really differentiate it.
maybe adding some examples. So classical transaction motivations, which I think is always a great example, because if you think about your if you're doing online shopping and order notifications being sent via email, how often are they just ending up in the spam folder? And this is a huge opportunity where you can use business messaging and sending these order notifications, for example, out via Viber, and by this making sure that the users also receive them. And then, for example, a nice follow-up could be like, thanks for your order, here is an additional voucher, which then would be more of a promotional message. So it's differentiating a little bit the content and the intent of the message.
Sure.
Thank you for that. So at this point, I'd also like to introduce Lamore, who is on our business messaging team as a partnership senior account management. She's joined us because we have some questions specifically for her. So I will start. How do I know if the end user has Viber?
And hi, everybody. So that's a really good question. What we usually do, obviously, is when we have brands and clients that want to onboard their businesses via Viber. There's obviously the chart that Etienne showed you in his presentation with regards to the penetration rate per country. And in the countries that have a very good Viber penetration, the likelihood of users having Viber is usually very high. We have the option of sending out the message to the user. And if a user does not have Viber, or for some reason is unable to receive the Viber message, if he has any internet problems or whatever the case may be, Tyntec is there to provide the fallback SMS, and that will then ensure that the end user will definitely receive his message, if not via Viber, then via SMS. So there is always the fallback, and there is never the case of a client not being able, or an end user not ever being able to receive his message. However, the majority of cases that we see, the likelihood of this happening is extremely low. But there is this backup, and it's a fail-safe kind of to say.
Thanks for that. Another question, what features can be supported via Viber business messages?
So this is a great question. Viber business messages has many features, and we are constantly adding new features to the business messages in Viber. Firstly, as Etienne pointed out, we have the ability to send both transactional and promotional messages. So this is fantastic. For the clients that want to send text only, they send the transactional messages, and for clients that are looking to send more interactive messages, they are able to do this with buttons and links and emojis and pictures and so forth via their promotional messaging. Business messages also has the business profile page, which is fantastic. When a user receives a message from the business, he's actually able to see the logo of the business, and he's able to log into this and see the URL of the business, the telephone number, more details. So it provides a lot more confidence within the user when he's receiving the message and from which business. We also have an overlay, which is a very fantastic feature because it really allows the user, when he comes in and receives his first message from the user, to see the content of the message and to see if he wants to continue receiving these messages from the business. So we give each user the option to see the content, and then if he wants to continue seeing the message. We've also added fantastic features such as file transfers recently, and many more. So there is a lot of features that are available for all business types, and really it creates a lot of confidence within the businesses and the users when they're using Viber business messages, and we're continuing to add more.
Thanks for that. We've had a request for, can you break down some of the pricing?
So the pricing, I will leave this up to Tyntec, obviously, because we have a direct integration with Tyntec, and obviously they will relate through the pricing. But what I can say is that we strive at Viber to come in with rates that are lower than the average SMS rates per country. This is something that we are known for, and we're happy to do. But for specific pricing, we'd obviously like you to contact Tyntec directly, and they will obviously give you the relevant pricing.
Yeah, maybe in addition, yeah, contact us. Pricing always depends on message volume. One thing, in addition to what Lima said on also comparing prices to SMS, due to these features like buttons, there are some nice or really cool success stories to be considered, for example, for sending out certain notifications by the feature of buttons, because consumers are not used to it yet, or just like the conversion rates are extremely high. So by sending one Viber message, for example, with a button, you would need to send 2 or 3 SMS notification reminders. So this is something that when comparing different prices for channels, you also need to consider. And please contact us. Let's talk about volumes, and I'll give you a dedicated pricing for you.
That's great. Thank you. From what I can see here, unless there are any other questions to come in via the Q&A, I think we have covered all of the questions so far. So unless there's anything else that the presenters would like to add, if you can move to the next slide. So customer relationships don't have to be complicated. We'd love to work together. The email address you can get hold of us on is messaging@forbusiness.viber.com. If anyone, of course, thinks of any further questions, issues, comments, please get in touch with us. We're always available alongside Tyntec to answer any questions you may have on the content today and anything else that may pop up in the future. So let's stay in touch, and we hope to welcome you to another session with us very soon.